Well, hi there, and a very warm welcome to you here at AfriRise. AfriRise is your go-to channel on matters, politics, governance, and everything happening in the political space in Kenya, in East Africa, and in Africa as a continent. And today we have an interesting conversation between me and you. And so, in this conversation, your feedback is really important. And I would like to take this early opportunity to kindly ask you to join into the conversation by sharing your views on our videos in the comment section, as well as reaching out if you have a direct contact. And today, a number of things have happened. Today was National Prayer Breakfast Day in Kenya, and a number of events or a number of things happened in that event. And I need us to have a conversation on those things that happened there. But first off, before we get into that conversation, I'd like to take this opportunity to ask you to subscribe to our channel. Just take a moment of your time, head to our channel, subscribe, watch as many videos as you can, and share them with as many of your friends as you can. And today we saw, first time after June 25th and the leading up time to that, we saw a public apology from the President of Kenya, William Ruto. And what is in my mind, or what is ringing in my mind, is questions of if this apology is genuine. And before we get into that discussion, let's listen to that apology.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, friends, our neighbors from Tanzania, if we have wronged you in any way, forgive us. Our friends from Uganda, if there is anything that Kenyans have done that's not right, we want to apologize if there is anything. To our children, if there is any misstep, we apologize. To our neighbors, if there is any misstep that we have done, you know, we want to build the relationship that will make our country great and will take us forward.
The genuinity of this apology can only be known by, one, the apologizer, and secondly, God. We're not in a place to know whether it's truly or not truly genuine. But here are some things you can read in the, or you can just derive from this apology. And one thing is, once a mistake is done, it could take time for you to realize that you've made a mistake. But secondly, once you do a mistake for the second time, it actually validates you first time doing the mistake. It actually makes it look intentional. And this is what happened with June last year. Leading up to that time, abductions were a thing. We saw a foreign investor being abducted in the country. We saw individuals who are against the government being abducted, and this continued even after the protest of June last year. It is actually this week that we've seen the emergence of an abducted member of parliament, the member of parliament for Juja, who just re-emerged from an abduction. And what we saw first from that reaction, the government was defending itself that it was not involved in that abduction. It's one thing to be involved in an abduction. It's another thing to be a government that is tasked with the responsibility of protecting every Kenyan. It's actually, government should not be focusing on whether they were involved in an abduction or not. They actually, or the nature of that abduction, they are actually supposed to defend every Kenyan. So whenever an abduction happens, it's not a question of whether the government is involved in that abduction or not. It's actually a responsibility of the government to know who the abductors are, to release, to present them before a court of law, to charge them, and guarantee the security of those who have been abducted, rescue them, and make sure they are well. This is not the case in this country. We are slowly but surely going to the anarchy route, and many people I see are ignoring this, and it's quite unfortunate. And the second apology we saw from the head of state is an apology to our neighbors. he mentioned more specifically Tanzania and Uganda, and he said if the people of those countries feel like we've wronged them in one way or the other as a country, he has apologized for that. Again, what I read from this is actually reverse psychology, and what the president is trying to do, he's trying to appeal to Kenyans that, look, we are in the wrong here as a whole. It's not about you in the opposition or me in government. We as a whole have wronged our neighbors, and this reverse psychology try and play out Kenyans as the actual orchestrators of deceit or of bad manners to the neighbors, and it's actually geared towards making us culpable and giving our neighbors the victim mentality they've always had. It's quite unfortunate that the president, we've seen how the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the State Department of Foreign Affairs reacted to the abductions of Kenyan nationals in Tanzania. Quite unfortunate that the government actually did come to the defense of the foreign government in those abductions. It's quite unfortunate, and I hope that this will not be the case going forward. And you could see people clapping. And these apologies we had and these confessions, there's a prayer that was led by the great North Member of Parliament, and you could read a lot of psychological playing. It's trying to show us, to show Kenyans on social media as very bad people. Yet, in the same prayer, politicians are calling themselves out on being the most corrupt group of people in this country. How then do you come to your defense if you've already confessed to that bad act, but blame other people for bringing it to light? It doesn't make any sense. And this is what our politicians do not understand. Social media is not going anywhere, and social media is not actually against you. You're against yourself by doing all the wrong things whenever a chance to do the right thing is presented to you. And we've seen it from right from the beginning of this government, even in governments that came before this one. But this one has done it in a more recognizable manner, that they do not want to hear any dissent. They just focused on looting without anyone calling it out, and they just want to stay what they call eating until there is no more to eat. And Kenyans simply will not allow this to happen. So what do you think about these two public apologies from the president, and what's your take on what Kenyans should do going forward? I've seen a lot of reactions. Kenyans are now saying, we cannot forgive you. If you want to be forgiven, resurrect our dead. If you want to be forgiven, resign. And this is the point. Kenyans can read mischief in anything. Kenyans can read dishonesty in anything, and they read it from the lips of the president. It's dishonest. It's just an apology for convenience, and it's not just simply going to be accepted and we move on. There must be responsibility for any wrongdoing. There must be responsibility for every person who was tasked with any responsibility. And this is the way going forward. And it actually makes me glad, because we can only get better by doing this. We can only get better by implementing what we believe in. I know what many Kenyans believe in, and it's actually what makes a country great. And I believe in the fullness of time, it's going to happen. So let me know in the comments below what you think about the public apologies by the president, and what you think should be done going forward. And before you leave, kindly leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it to as many of your friends as you can. Adios.